It was clearly outside of Pyeolwul's calculation that his identity would be revealed by Guyan. Over the past few days, Pyeolwul has turned into Myingak and has done quite a bit of work. Since Myingak was one of the 10 monks of Hyalbul, the monks of the Xiaolialayan temple did not doubt him at all. Thanks to this, Pyeolwul was able to carry out his work without anyone's suspicions. If his identity had not been revealed by Guyan, he would have finished his preparations more perfectly. But now his identity was revealed to the whole world, but it's still okay since even Pyeolwul did not expect that he would be able to keep his identity hidden for so long. The Xiaolialayan temple is an enclosed place. As he stays inside the temple for a long time, his identity will inevitably be revealed. It's just that the timing has come a little earlier than expected. The gazes of the monks were like thousands of needles, piercing his whole body. A tremendous pressure swept over Pyeolwul. However, Pyeolwul looked at the 3 children in front of him without shaking. Soma was smiling like a madman. Every time he moved, the 7 wheels hanging around his neck collided and a clear sound of iron resounded. Guyan was looking at Pyeolwul with his characteristic black eyes, while Yunyo stayed still with her head half lowered. Nevertheless, the murderous intent radiating from her small body went beyond the normal level. She was kidnapped at such a young age that she could not even tell what was right and what was wrong, so she lost all her personality. Like her, the other children were also brought up as weapons to commit murder. Soma is the center of their group. This brightly smiling boy was the center of the 3 children. Yunyo and Guyan were showing an attitude that they would follow Soma's decision no matter what. Hukum didn't know, but as he broke the limits placed on the children's brains, all the brainwashing and mental restraints that Mokwan had initially inflicted were also released. Soma was looking up at Pyeolwul with a wide smile. Innocent eyes that were filled with life. But something dark was curled up inside in the child's mask. After being kidnapped by the Xiaolialayan temple, the children endured their resentment, anger, and desire for destruction. Hukum's manipulation just caused the children's brains to explode with their repressed desires. Pyeolwul saw through them at once. There is only one thing you should remember. What is it? You should listen to me under any circumstances. If you're going to disobey me, don't even dream of working together with me. I'll do it. I'll listen carefully to you. Soma nodded without hesitation. Remember what you said right now, the moment you disobey my words, I will make you regret it. Yes. Don't worry, Soma stood next to Pyeolwul. Then Guyan and Yunyo followed suit. Hukum's face contorted at the absurd situation unfolding in front of him. You bastards. You should be attacking him, what is this nonsense? Soma and the children felt bitter at Hukum's rage. Soma looked up at Pyeolwul. That bastard. Can I kill him? Let's kill him now. I really want to kill him. Soma chirped like a baby bird over and over again. But the words he said were terrifying. Pyeolwul stopped Soma. Not yet. Why? Are you not going to listen to me already? No, I'll listen to you. Then wait. I'll let you kill him. Yes. Soma put on a delighted look. Pyeolwul's gaze then turned to Hyalbul, who was sitting on the highest platform. Hyalbul was looking down at Pyeolwul with eyes full of anger. You've been playing around inside our sect all this time. You indeed have great ability. You made all the monks in our temple tremble in fear. It wasn't that difficult. Do you have any intention of using that ability for me? I don't like having someone looking down on me. How dare you refuse my offer? The roar of Hyalbul made the hall almost about to collapse. Both the large pillars and roof tiles trembled. Even so, there was no change in Pyeolwul's expression. The martial arts of Hyalbul had reached a level that is considered rare even in Gyeongju. Just by listening to his slightest provocation a while ago, anyone could guess what level he was. There were hundreds of warriors there. Even if Pyeolwul unexpectedly gained some comrades, it was impossible to deal with them all. Still, the reason Pyeolwul didn't look intimidated was because he had done his preparations. An assassin is a man who prepares thoroughly. Pyowool was the pinnacle of such assassination. He has already finished all his preparations. Hyalbul felt something ominous judging by Pyowool's imposing attitude. Catch him. At the command of Hyalbul, the monks of the Xiaolialian temple came rushing in like a tidal wave. At that moment, Pyowool said to Soma and others, "From now on, just follow me." "Yes." "Tack." Pyowool snapped his finger. Then a small fireball was formed over his finger. It was the white phosphorus fire. Pyowool threw the fire on the floor. The fire was small, but the results were devastating. Suddenly, a huge fire broke out. Wahahak! The flame soared up to the roof of the hall in an instant. If it is a fire of natural origin, it would have never burned like this with such terrifying speed. A thick smoke rose along with the blue flames. Hew! Hick! The monks around the flames screamed. It was because the moment they inhaled the smoke, they already felt suffocated and dizzy. "Everyone, watch out for the smoke. He's done something to it." The monks cried out as they hurried back. As they might have guessed, the smoke was not natural. For the past few days, Pyowool has oiled the floor of the full moon hall and hidden a cornerstone under it. All of the materials were obtained from the dugong's residence. The oil-soaked floor spewed out hellfire, and the cornerstone gave off so much smoke that it was hard to breathe. The hall quickly became a mess. In order to catch Pyowool, all the gates were blocked, so the fire and smoke could not escape and could only fill the entire hall. The monks, who were not prepared, inhaled the cornerstone smoke and fell to the floor, gasping. "This guy." In an instant, the hall turned into a sea of fire. Hyalbul jumped from his seat. But because of the thick smoke, he couldn't find Pyowool anywhere. Arg! Huff! Huff! The screams of the monks were engulfed by the fire and smoke. Anyone could tell without even looking that Pyowool is assassinating the monks one by using the fire and smoke as cover. They might have used the wolf children to lure out the assassin, but their effort was all for nothing. For some reason, the wolf children had gone to Pyowool's side. This made the anger and embarrassment felt by Hyalbul and Hukum to become inevitably great. "You must escape. We will look after him after you go out," the 10 monks said, surrounded by the Hyalbul. However, Hyalbul quickly rejected their offer. "You must kill him. If you miss him, there will be no end to the repercussions." Hyalbul's eyes gleamed. Then a formidable energy was condensed in his hands. "Ha!" Hyalbul waved his hand. Then a storm-like energy arose and swept throughout the hall. It was one dragon. A huge red dragon made of the supreme layer of the heavenly dragon. The dragon-shaped energy swallowed the stinging smoke and flames at once, and then drilled a large hole in the wall. Bang! The smoke and flames that filled the entire hall flew into the hole along with the dragon. It was truly a formidable force. If the supreme layer of the heavenly dragon had hit a human body instead of a wall, the person would have immediately been killed without leaving a single trace. When the things that interfered with their vision and breathing disappeared, the monks managed to get up. Unbelievable! Oh my God! Dozens of monks were lying dead on the floor. In that brief moment, Pyowool and the children attacked the monks and defeated them. Flames and smoke, which limited the monks' vision and senses, were no problem for Pyowool. Pyowool had the ability to accurately detect the presence of enemies in even the worst places. What was surprising was Soma and the other two. Children whose limits have been released have a sharp sense that cannot be compared with ordinary people. Thanks to this, the children were able to move freely in flames and smoke. The children's skills were far superior to those of Hukum or Mokwan. The children used smoke to hide, like natural assassins, and attacked the monks, aiming for their weaknesses. Their body was small, and they were quick on their feet. They were also equipped with the agility to completely hide themselves. Pyowool thought that Soma and the children were similar to a snow leopard hunting in the snow. The children were very sensible. The moment an incident occurred in the hall, they immediately realized that it was Pyowool's work. So they covered their nose and mouth with the hem of their clothing. And they breathed as slowly as possible. The series of actions they did was not something that could be learned. It's natural. Tatak. Pillwool went through the wall, which was broken by the supreme layer of the heavenly dragon. Soma and the other two quickly followed behind Pillwool. Go after them. Hyalbul gave the order. His face was full of anger. Hyalbul had hit the wall in hopes of tilting the situation to his favor. However, Pillwool and the children used the hole he had drilled to escape instead. It was an act of insulting Hyalbul. I will catch and kill him myself. Hyalbul was tired of sitting and waiting for the disciples to catch him. As Hyalbul moved, the 10 monks naturally followed, together with the demon blood monks and the other monks. Bang! In their pursuit, the buildings on the grounds with hundreds of years of history were crushed and trampled on. Skyak. Sight. The monks threw their weapons and tried to hit Pillwool and the children. However, the weapons they threw narrowly missed or were stuck at their feet by a narrow margin. This made the monks even more frenzied. Pillwool, who was running with Hyalbul and other monks on his tail, jumped into a huge area. It was the Mambiop Palace. Hukum made a puzzled expression. Why the Mambiop Palace? Mambiop Palace is the space he was most familiar with, so he could not understand why Pillwool had gone into such a space. His question was quickly answered. Pillwool, who jumped into the Mambiop Palace, quickly disappeared into the underground space. It was the space where Dugong and his disciples studied poison. In an instant, Hukum realized Pillwool's intentions and his face turned white. Oh, no! However, his cry was buried in the sound of the monks rushing. Hyalbul and the other monks jumped into the underground passage without thinking much about it. They weren't familiar with the underground passage, unlike the monks who lived in the Mambiop Palace. In particular, everyone was reluctant to go there because of the area of Dugong's study, which was about poison. In an instant, hundreds of monks disappeared into Dugong's abode. However, Hukum stopped at the entrance and only stared at the dark passage. Shit. His face was full of conflict. Should he go in? Or not? His decision was the latter. Hukum was a man who valued his life above all else. Intangible words that cannot be grasped, such as ideals, were not important to him. He can only enjoy wealth and glory, together with the act of manipulating other people's minds, only if he is alive. Hukum had no intention of giving up on such things. But, he could not escape. He felt at the moment he ran away from Chengdu to this place, if he escapes now, he will continue to be chased. He had enough of that situation. I can wait here and then attack him. This was the only entrance that led to Dugong's residence. If he waits, then Pillwool will definitely come out. That was then. Puk. He suddenly heard a sound of something exploding from inside the passage. And smoke came out. You crazy bastard.